Okay, so we're going to dive straight in today, and we are going to be doing the third and final session in my No BS brand strategy series. Now, today we are stepping outside of strategy just a little bit, and not necessarily focusing so much on the process, but looking at how we're marketing ourselves. And even if you are not necessarily interested in zhuzhing up your strategy process, you're pretty confident with it, this session is still a very, very good one to watch. So if you're watching the replays and you haven't watched the other two, that's not really the end of the world. So essentially today we're talking about magnetizing your offer. So while we're going to be talking about how to position yourself as a strategist, I'm going to be helping you to sort of find your unique superpower, and we're going to create a bit of a marketing plan together. I'm also going to give you a bit of a behind the scenes deep dive into how I've done this with my own brand as well. So I'm really, really excited. But firstly, I just want to recap what we have learned so far. So on day one, we obviously explored the strategy process in itself. We looked at the fact-finding stage, so the questionnaire, the workshop, the brand strategy PDF, whatever you are choosing to call yours. We also looked at what makes a cult brand and each of the 4 pillars of brand strategy. So we had brand, market, audience, and creative vision. All are such good topics today. Yes, today is probably my favorite talk. I'm really excited to dive in. So then yesterday we looked at the implementation stage of the strategy process. So how we're taking all of those strategy insights and transforming it into an actual design action plan, so that we're not just browsing Pinterest mindlessly looking for nice color palettes. We actually have a goal and a direction. We looked at design psychology as well, so understanding how type, color, brand archetypes as well can inform our design decisions, and things like emotions and feelings through design. And then, of course, we looked at translating a strategy into insights, an action plan, and a visual direction. So far, we have covered the fact-finding and the implementation stage. So hopefully by this point in time, you have a very strong strategy process, or you're working on your strategy process, and you feel a lot more confident with conducting that with your clients. So what comes next? So like I've mentioned, today we are talking all things marketing and positioning, so that you're not just looking at how you're conducting the strategy, but you also know how to position yourself as an expert in your field so that you can attract your dream clients. So by the end of today, you should know how to unlock your unique superpower and find your voice so that you can become known for what you do best. We're also going to understand how to build offers that align with your dream clients. And hopefully by the end of today, you are going to feel confident in creating a solid marketing plan that positions you as an expert strategist in your field. Now, naturally, we've only got like an hour together. It's probably going to overrun. I'm going to do a little Q&A at the end. But we're not going to have all the time in the world today to literally do a deep dive into marketing plans themselves. But we're going to talk about the steps that lead us there, and hopefully give you a really, really good starting point as well. So I want to start today with a little discussion point. And those of you that have done the 90-day method, or started the 90-day method and came to the workshop yesterday, may be in this mood already, and you're in the journaling vibe, and you've maybe even answered this question already. But I want you to take a moment to think about what is holding you back from selling strategy with confidence, or not even just strategy, but selling yourself with confidence and positioning yourself as an expert to your dream clients. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes. I want you to jot it down somewhere. If you feel comfortable enough to do so, I'd love for you to share it in the chat, so that I can see your responses. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to share it, pop it in the tent, share it to me via DMs. I'm excited. I ask this question a lot. Naturally, there are some responses that come up time and time again, so we're going to explore those in just a second, but I'm going to give you guys a moment to just write this down. We all know how much I love the awkward silences, so I'm just gonna have a sit for a moment. Normally I have like a water bottle or something, but I completely forgot to grab myself a drink today. Normally that's my little my little task while you guys are writing responses. So just think, what is stopping you? What is stopping you from selling yourself with confidence? What's stopping you from showing up on socials, for example? Okay, I'll let you guys carry on writing, and I'm going to go through some of the common obstacles and common responses that we see. So number one is, I can't seem to attract the right clients. Nobody sees the value in that strategy. Laura has said, a portfolio that makes me feel proud of showing. I absolutely feel that as well. I feel like when you don't have like a ton of projects that almost represent the direction you're going in, it can be really, really difficult to want to share that. I feel that way about my own portfolio at the moment because a lot of the clients that I've worked with in the last year haven't launched yet. So I haven't been able to share them. So I completely feel that. Alina says, I get a bit doubtful on finding the competitors or finding a singular idea for their branding. Basically, maybe the research part, like maybe I'm not good enough on that or not. Absolutely. And that is my third point. Oh no, I forgot to change it. I've duplicated the same slide. One of the slides was supposed to be the imposter syndrome, feeling like you're not good enough, feeling like your process isn't there enough. And Poppy said, the imposter syndrome, feeling the need to be perfect, struggling to find the clients who I want to work with, or not just through word of mouth. Absolutely. So hopefully we're going to be diving into all of those things today. And by the end of today, you're going to feel a lot more confident. Alina, I know you mentioned about competitors, finding ideas for their branding. I'm hoping that day 1 and 2 will hopefully help you with that a little bit. I'm not sure if you attended or if you've watched those or if you've gone through those. If you have and you're still feeling a bit confused, like please send me a DM, please send me a message and I will help you with that. But we're going to dive into how we can position ourselves. So the truth is, while you are sat waiting for that right client to come along, you're waiting for your process to be perfect. You are waiting for the right time. There is somebody else out there who has already started. They have taken that dream client from you because they've started positioning themselves. It is time for you to start taking action today. Whatever you think you can't do, there is somebody else out there confidently doing it wrong right now. I absolutely love that quote. They have no plans at doing it better. People are paying them for it. And you know that you can go out there and do that better, but there's something holding you back. You're feeling that imposter syndrome. You're waiting to be perfect, but that perfect never comes. The thing is, there is space for absolutely everybody in our industry, and every single one of us has something unique to bring to the table, whether we are following the same processes or not. You and I could have exactly the same brand strategy process. We could have the same process of designing. We could have the same process of delivering to our clients, but we're both going to have things that are different about the way that we think, the opinions that we have, and that's what we're going to be exploring. So right now, whatever situation you are in, your content, your brand, your marketing is speaking to the people you're attracting right now. So that could be the I only want a logo clients. It could be I don't want to spend more than £1,000 clients. It could be the I don't want the brand strategy clients, just give me a brand clients. Even if you are actively growing your brand, it could be that they only want to pay 5,000 and your packaging, your pricing, you're really trying to aim for that £10,000 pricing. You feel stuck. You feel like you can't reach those people. And it's because your content isn't speaking that to them. It is your job now to get in front of those 20K budget clients, those dream clients, and show them why you are the right person for them. Now, I want to give a little disclaimer. This is a process, okay? I have been at this for 6 years, and over the years, I have changed the way I position myself so much, and I'm constantly having sort of rebrand moments of my own where I think, oh, hey, something's just clicked and I finally understand what my audience is looking for. Oh, hey, something's just clicked and I finally understand how to speak to my audience. And I've been doing this for 6 years. It will take time. And this kind of links back into that. Not everything needs to be perfect right away, because I still don't think, even going through a bit of a rebrand myself right now, that things are going to be perfect. I'm sure that in 6 months' time, I'm going to find something else and be like, oh my God, why was I ever doing it like that? We are never going to get parts of our process 100% perfect, but it is about making the start, taking the action, and deciding today to just start. So before we can even think about how we're getting in front of these clients, we need to know who they are. And I'm not just talking about the type of businesses you want to work with. I'm talking about fully understanding the founder behind the brand. How do they perceive branding services? What kind of investment do they have? What are their goals for their brands? And so I want to introduce you to the framework we're going to be starting with today, which is the Dream Client Expedition. Now, you all know I love a good metaphorical theme when it comes to sharing frameworks, because I feel like it helps you visualize. I feel like it helps break the steps down into a much easier, approachable take. So to help you uncover exactly who your dream clients are, we are going on a mission. So this is split up into 3 stages, and we're going to start today by exploring each 3 of these. So stage 1 is charting the stars. We are identifying what your guiding stars are, aka uncovering who your aligned brands are that you want to build. Step 2 is drawing your map. So with the aid of some journal prompts, you will know I love a journal prompt, we're going to create a character profile for your dream brand founder. And then step 3, we're going to collect supplies. So this is conducting additional market research to really identify what spaces your dream clients are occupying and how we're going to be talking to them. So of course, we're going to walk through each of these in detail. So we're starting off with charting the stars. So this step is our starting point. You might already have an idea in your head of what your niche is and maybe some of the types of businesses that you want to work with. But here we're going to use the real world as our canvas and our examples. So the first step is identifying your stars. What are some existing brands that you'd wished you'd built? Now, I touched on this exercise slightly in day 1, and I talked about it a little bit yesterday, and I believe in the co-working session, we had a bit of conversation about this. So some of you might have already started to look into this, but with your knowledge of the industry you sit in, or even by doing new research, I want you to create a Pinterest or a mood board with a minimum of 3 brands that are aligned with the types of brands you wish to build. Now, I know those of you that have started the process of doing the 90-day method will know how much I like to romanticize the rituals of doing these things. So I want you to light a candle. If you're in your office space, I want you to clean your office space, make it feel really comfortable, set a vibe, and I want you to spend some time working on this. Choose to work on yourself and choose to work on your brand. Again, I've mentioned this time and time again, but we get so caught up in the daily, everyday admin of running our businesses. We get so caught up in the admin work that we forget to actually carve out time to work on these things for ourselves. So I want you to treat this like a fun activity. You're going to open up Pinterest, you're going to do some searching, and it's not going to come to you right away. I'm sure if I asked you now, what brands do you wish you'd built, you still would have to think about it a little bit. But I want you to spend time on this. Come back to it if you need to another day, if it's not coming to you immediately, and just build like a visual collection of the brands that you wished that you had built. I'd say a minimum of 3, but you can do as many as you want. And when you're searching for these brands, I don't just want you to look at their brand identities. I want you to look at their marketing, their social media, their PR packaging. How are they building lifestyles, communities, and experiences? So looking beyond the aesthetics at the story and the strategy behind the brand. So I wanted to share a little example of this. So this is actually my Pinterest board, and I regularly use this as a source of inspiration. And I'm always adding new brands into it as well, because I think it's really, really, really important to stay aligned with the types of brands that you love. So I call my brand aligned brands. You can call it my board, sorry, you can call it anything you like. So my aligned brands that are on there at the moment are Road Beauty, Rare Beauty, Glossy 8, Skims, and 818 Tequila. Now, obviously, a lot of these are beauty brands. I primarily work with beauty brands. I work with lifestyle brands. I work with food and beverage brands. Basically, any product-based brand sort of in the lifestyle space. So these were all of the brands that kind of were coming to me as, man, I love their marketing. I love their brand. I'd really love to have been a part of the creation process in that. And as you can see from some of these images I've saved, they aren't like the clean, polished logos and brand identities taken from like the designers' portfolios. They are like the raw shots of the customer experience. And this eventually started to help me form an idea of, well, hey, like these are very like that girl. Like these are very lifestyle-y, iPhone shot, low exposure kind of vibes, like very, very community based, very real. And this eventually became one of my like North Stars. This became one of the things that actually made me realize, hey, these are the kinds of brands I like building. I don't just like building any old beauty brand. I like building beauty brands through the lens of this kind of vibe. And also, a lot of these brands were influencer-led brands. I mean, in fact, I think all but Glossier of these were like celebrity or influencer brands. And that actually really gave me a good starting point. And for a very, very long time, so when I first did this exercise, it was a light bulb moment. And very recently, I've had another light bulb moment that has expanded on this. So it's taken a year to get to this point. But I have had the realization that actually, I'm not scared to say that I work with influencer brands. Like I have had influencer inquiries. They've not followed through because there were lots of parts of my process I need to improve, but I have had influencers contact me. If any of you know Ellie Swift, I've been in contact with her before. So lots of things have been happening in the background. So I do actually like feel ready to show up and say that, hey, I work with influencers to build their brands. And I think that's a really, really fun niche to have. I think as well, we often get caught up in setting our niches, the types of businesses we work with. So it'd be quite easy for me to say, okay, my niche is that I work with beauty brands. But that is such a big umbrella. The fact that I can now show up and say, hey, I work with influencer beauty brands with a that girl vibe to help them become cult brands. You can see how there's such a big difference in the way that I might show up in my marketing because of that. So this really, really helped me to unlock my unique perspective on the industry. And while this is where I started, it very much, like I said, it's taken a year to really build upon it. And it was a starting point, but now I'm even expanding more. So again, don't feel like you have to be 100% perfect. It's a work in progress. And I think embrace that, understand that you're probably going to change your mind in a year and just go from there. So while I obviously teach strategy and brand building experiences and lifestyles, this is now my expertise. And this is why so many of my clients now reach out to me. So once you've collected your visual inspiration, it doesn't end there. We need to do a little bit of journaling to analyze what this means and understand, okay, so these are the brands on my board. So what does this say about the kind of brands that I want to build? So obviously, like I've mentioned, every single brand here basically was an influencer celebrity founded brand. So this was an interesting insight that I then learned and changed the way that I viewed the way that I like to build brands and who I like to work with. I did contemplate giving you guys some time within today's session to do some journaling in more of like a workshop style, but I know the majority of you will be watching this on the replay, so you can just pause me and do it now if you want to. But also responses can feel a little bit rushed. I know a lot of you did the 90-day method yesterday, so you're probably all journaled out for a while. So if you need to screenshot this, I will upload all the slides as well, so you can literally just click on the PDF and view these as well underneath the replay. But I want to make sure that for you, this is something that you're really sitting down and focusing on. So these prompts are just examples. You don't have to answer every single one of these questions. And if you can think of any other questions that you want to answer, we can use our bestie ChatGPT. But I do recommend doing these if you want to unlock really who your dream brand. So firstly is, what makes me attracted to these brands? Why did you choose them in the first place? Is it the design? Is it the experience? Is it the marketing? And think about, is it because these are brands that you would purchase? And that's a really interesting take as well. What values do these brands embody, and how do they align, that's not even a word. How do they align with my own values? What visual elements do these brands share? So consider their logos, color typography, overall aesthetic. Do they all have like a similar vibe? Like, are they all really type-led? Are they all super bold? Or are they all completely different? And if they are, why are they different? What do I know about the founders of these brands? How has their story impacted the identity? And this is a really, really great question, because while you may have some time to do some research, you can start to identify the types of client themselves that are building the brands and have invested into personal branding and packaging. And we will explore this in a little bit more detail in the next step. Who are the target audiences for these brands, and what unique problems are the brands solving for them? What impact are these brands having on their industries? So, for example, you might find that a lot of the brands on your mood boards all work towards bigger issues and do lots of charity work, for example, and this could become part of your voice and mission. How are these brands building lifestyles and experiences for their audience? So similarly to how we would perhaps analyze neighbor brands with our strategy process, what things are these